Hello all and welcome to today's video. My name is John McFall and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, and I also teach you how to make semi-passive income. Today I want to talk to you about 4 different things that you can do to make sure that you are multi-apping the right way, because we all know there's a right way to do food delivery and multi-app when you're out there, and there is a wrong way. So I want to break it down 4 different things that you need to make sure you keep in mind when you're multi-apping so that you can make the most money when you're out there, and you can also do it the right way so you don't ever face any problems when you're on the platforms trying to do multi-apping. Before we get into the topic, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you find value in it. Also want to remind you that down here in my description I have a great tool for you guys to use that I put together myself, which is my metric spreadsheet. I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can take a quick look at it. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total time that I've worked. I also put in the miles, and then if you head to the right, you'll see I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, and the number of deliveries for each individual app. And then head to the bottom, and you'll see that it calculates out what your total average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, and your average per delivery. If you want to know how well you're doing when you're out here doing food delivery, the only way that you can is to keep track of your metrics. This will show you where you need to improve. So head down into my description and go grab a copy of it for yourself. And with that, let's get into the topic. So I did a series a few months ago. It was a 3-part series, and I'll put the videos down here in the description if you guys want to go check them out, where I talked about multi-apping in a number of different ways. I want to go into it today and just kind of give you some bigger picture, some highlights from those videos that I talked about so that you can make sure that you're out there doing multi-apping the right way. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is when you are accepting orders on multiple apps. The biggest thing that you have to look at when you are accepting orders is you've got to know and understand where those orders are dropping off, because when you're multi-apping, a lot of times the restaurants are really close together that you're going to pick up the orders, or it might even be the same restaurant. The problem that a lot of people run into when they're out here multi-apping is they will take an order from 2 restaurants that are close together, and they are going to drop in completely opposite directions. And by the time you drop off that first order, you literally might be 5 or 6 or 7 miles from your second drop. So you have got to make sure when you accept those orders on multiple apps that you are accepting orders that are dropping in the same general area. So when you see orders come through on the apps and you accept one and then you see another one come in on a different platform, you got to remember where that first one is dropping off so you know if you can take the second one. The second point I want to bring up to you about multi-apping is time. Time is vitally important when you are picking more than one order. What do I mean by this? When you get an order sent to you from any of the platforms, they have an expected drop-off time. This is when they expect the order to be dropped to the customer, and this is what the customer sees. So when you are deciding to multi-app and you are deciding to take orders on more than one platform, you have got to know when the anticipated drop-off time is for your first order, so that when you pick that second order, you know that you have enough time to go to either 2 restaurants or 1 restaurant where 2 orders are, and take both of those deliveries and get those done within that time frame that the apps expect it to be done. Because what you'll run into, and you can see it especially on DoorDash in the ratings, is your on time and early rate. If you get into a situation where you are dropping off orders extremely late beyond the time that the apps expect them to be on, this can cause you problems, and it can lead to deactivation if you consistently have this problem and it's happening all the time. So make sure when you pick up an order, you look at when the anticipated drop-off time is, and then if another order comes in, you got to make sure that you have enough time to pick up that second one and drop it off within that time that the first one wants the order to be delivered. The third thing I want to talk to you about is the actual apps and how do you run the apps when you are multi-apping. The first thing I got to say is you have got to understand how the apps work in your marketplace. What do I mean by this? I mean that you have got to know which app is the one that provides you the best income overall, because this is the first app that you want to go to when you are out doing food delivery. So in my marketplace, it used to be Uber Eats. Uber Eats was my cash cow. Go back to my older videos and you'll see where I talked a lot about the fact that Uber Eats was my cash cow. Today, that's not the case. Today, GrubHub is my cash cow. So I always start with GrubHub when I go into my marketplace. This can change over time, just like it did for me when Uber Eats was just bumping, and then suddenly it stopped sending me the orders that it used to, so it fell out of first place and GrubHub became my #1 app. That might change in the future, but when I go into my marketplace today, I turn on GrubHub and that is the first app that I look at, and then Uber is now in second place, so that is the second app that I look at, and then DoorDash in my marketplace is the third. And basically what this means is DoorDash gives me the lowest dollars and the lowest dollars to miles, so I always rely on the first two to see what they are going to do before I turn on DoorDash. So make sure that you understand how the apps work in your marketplace so that you can make sure you're getting the most money when you're out there. The fourth and the final thing that I want to talk to you about is your actual marketplace, because although you might have all three apps in your marketplace, there are only going to be certain areas that you can go to in your marketplace that all three apps will send you good orders. So you really got to go out and analyze your marketplace for each of the apps so that you know where those, I call them sweet spots, and basically what a sweet spot is you know when you go into this certain area that DoorDash will send you orders, Uber Eats will send you orders, and GrubHub will send you orders that are good. There are, right now in my marketplace, I actually have 5 sweet spots that I tap into. My city that I primarily work in is Fort Wayne, Indiana. It is a population of 265,000 people. It is about 15 miles north to south and about 20 miles east to west. It is a huge marketplace. So I know where I can go in that marketplace to pick up orders from all of the apps, not just one, not just two, but I can go into that sweet spot and I am likely to receive orders from all 3 of the apps, and this gives me a better chance and opportunity to get the orders that I want so that I can make the money that I want. So you really got to analyze your marketplace, and you got to come up with a minimum of about 3 to 4 sweet spots that I call them. And the reason this is because one day you're going to go into your first sweet spot and it's not going to be sending you anything. So you've got to have the next one and the next one until you find that area that is producing for you that day. In my marketplace, I live about 10 minutes, 15 minutes north of Fort Wayne, so I always go into my first sweet spot, which is demographically closest to me, and if that's not producing as I'm getting into it, I will head to the second one. If that's not producing, I will head to the third one. And typically when I enter my marketplace, no matter what day of the week or time of the day it is, I can usually get to that second or third one and start receiving the good orders that I'm looking for myself, so I can make the money that I want. So make sure that you analyze your marketplace and find those good spots so that you can know where your sweet spots are, that you can get orders from all the apps so that you can tap into the most money when you go into your marketplace. So I hope I taught you a lot today. There are 4 really key components to multi-apping the right way. This is knowing where your drop-off locations are. It's very, very important for time and to take care of the customers. The second one was you have got to know how much time you have on that first order before it's expected to be dropped off so that you don't run into problems being late. The third thing was you gotta know the apps in your marketplace and you've gotta know which ones are the best. And then finally, the fourth is you have got to know and understand your marketplace so you know where to go in it to get orders from all 4 apps or all 3 apps at the same time. So with that, I want to remind you, head down into my description and go grab my metric spreadsheet. It is a great tool that can help you do better. Also want to remind you that in my descriptions, I always have some great tools for you guys, which is the Beans app and Simply Wise and QuickBooks Self-Employed. There's a link to a video where I talk about them in my description. There's also little blurbs under them so you can kind of read about them if you want to go that route. But make sure you go check out those tools so that you can do better when you're out here doing food delivery. I would also like to ask you again, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. I want to leave you with, I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.